سيدنا محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك وترحم على محمد وآل محمد كأفضل ما صليت وسلمت وباركت وترحمت على إبراهيم وآل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. وصل اللهم وسلم على جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين والأوصياء والصديقين وعترة نبيك الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين وأصحابه الخلص المنتجبين ومن تبعهم بإحسان وإيمان إلى يوم الدين. عباد الله، أوصيكم وأوصي نفسي بتقوى الله ولزوم أمره. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألف لام ميم. ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون. صدق الله العلي العظيم. One of the most important responsibility of a believer is to recognize his or her leadership. The leadership is not the prime minister or the president or the king. What I mean by leadership is the spiritual leadership, universal leadership, a leadership appointed and ordained by God. Both traditions in Islam, the Amma and the Khassa, agree upon this hadith: من مات ولم يعرف إمام زمانه مات ميتة جاهلية. If a person dies without being able to recognize and follow the Imam of the time, the universal leader of the time, his death is a death that is equal to the time of ignorance. مات ميتة جاهلية. They both agree. The both traditions, the Sunni traditions and the Shia traditions. Sometimes we hear some comments on Al-Imam Al-Mahdi alayhi salatu wassalam. These comments come from some people who love their religion and they want to learn, but they have some skepticism, some doubts, uncertainties, hesitation sometimes. Does he really exist? 1400 years, more than 1300 years now. Does he really exist? How can he survive? Why don't we see him? Why don't we meet him? Where is he? How can we have access to him? How can we really connect with him? These are legitimate questions, legitimate. We must listen to them and address them. We should not get angry when someone asks a question about God or the Prophet or the Imam or prayers or anything in regards to religion. We should have tolerance and try to present the logical and rational answer, not emotional answer. Logical and rational answer. قُلْ هَاتُوا بُرْهَانَكُمْ إِن كُنْتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. Use an evidence, convincing evidence, which is the Quran and the authentic hadith. When it comes to his long life, it is not something easy to accept. It's not easy. But then, God says in this book, the very first verse in Surat Al-Baqarah, very first verse in Surat Al-Baqarah speaks about the belief in the unseen, the belief in something that you don't see. Because believing in something that you see is easy. It's easy. When you believe in something that you see it. You see the sun, so you believe in the sun. You see the moon, you see the stars, you see the day, the night. This is why the followers of some prophets, like Musa and Isa, their followers asked them to show me something physical, material, tangible. I can touch it. I can see it with my eyes. So they had to perform miracles, physical miracles, to convince their followers. But the Quran says, physical Miracles, it's not a big deal. He can perform it, but we have given you man, we have given you brain and aql, reason. We want you to use your reason, your aql, to understand God. God says in this book, الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ. The most important fundamental of faith is to believe in the unseen. الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ. And then after that, وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَيُؤْتُونَ الزَّكَاةَ وَمِمَّا. These are secondary. Establishing prayers, giving alms, giving charity. These are secondary. The main important prerequisite to have faith in God is what? يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ. Part of this ghaib, al-ghaib al-mutlaq, is the existence of God. How many of us saw God with their eyes? How many? No one. No one. Musa alayhi salam, his community asked them, please, أَرِنَا اللَّهَ جَهْرًا. Let us see God, an actual, apparent look at Him. فَأَخَذَتْهُمُ الصَّاعِقَةِ. The thunderbolt, the storm overtook them. So many people tried to see God, but God is invisible. God is transcendent. This is important. Jesus is not transcendent. Jesus was made of a flesh and blood. Jesus was a human being. He's not a transcendent. But God in Islam is a transcendent. But yet, He is a transcendent, but at the same time, He's eminent. He's eminent. وَنَحْنُ أَقْرَبُ إِلَيْهِ مِنْ حَبْلِ الْوَرِيدِ. You cannot see me, but I'm closer to you than your jugular vein. This is God. Nobody has seen God with his physical eyes, but we see Him with our hearts, with our souls, with our inner conscious. Same thing with Imam Al-Mahdi alayhi salam. Maybe we did not see him. I did not shake hand with him, but I firmly believe in him and in his existence, because he is part of the unseen. الَّذِينَ يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْغَيْبِ. He's part of ghaib. This is number one. Number two, how can we believe that Jesus did not die? When you say this to a Christian, he starts laughing at you. When you tell him Jesus was not crucified, he starts laughing at you. You tell him, but my book says, وَمَا قَتَلُوهُ وَمَا صَلَبُوهُ وَلَكِنْ رَفَعَهُ اللَّهُ إِلَيْهِ. They never murdered him. They never crucified him. God took him up to him. Jesus was born over 2,000 years ago. He was born over 2,000 years ago, but he's alive. And it doesn't matter whether he's alive on earth or in the heaven, he's the same Jesus. Nothing will happen to him. God would not transform him. He's living in heaven, not only with his spirit, with his blood and flesh and blood. So if God allows Jesus to live for over 2,000 years, and maybe 3,000 and 4,000, God knows how many more years he's going to live. This is number one. Jesus is one example. The second example that we both, all Muslims, both Sunnis and Shia, believe, Al-Khidr. Al-Khidr, which is mentioned in chapter 18, Surat Al-Kahf. Another messenger of God. In fact, he's the mentor, the teacher of Musa alayhi salam. Musa alayhi salam had to take some courses with him, with Al-Khidr. The story is famous in Surah Al-Kahf. هل أتبعك? Musa asked him, shall I follow you? على أن تعلمني مما علمت رشدا. To give me part of مما علمت, part of you know. Not all your knowledge, part of what you know. مما علمت علم. This is Khidr alayhi salam. He's a prophet. And he did not die. And he shall not die until the last day of this life. This is what we believe in. How could God keep him alive? Tell me, which formula he uses in biology? The same formula that God uses with Al-Khidr, he can use it with Imam Al-Mahdi. He's the same God. Same manufacturer. Same Lord, same creator. Yes, the story of Imam Al-Mahdi is not easy to believe in, but it has evidence in the Quran, deeply rooted in the Quran. God can preserve him through miracle, not normal means, through miracle. If we believe in the concept of miracle, any miracle, if we believe that one day Jesus, according to this book, resurrected the dead, can you show me someone who can resurrect the dead today? Go and search the entire globe. 7.5 billion people worldwide. Ask them. You can't find anyone. Resurrecting the dead, impossible. Science tells you it's impossible. Religion tells you today it's impossible. But it happened. This book does not lie. This book does not lie. وَأُحْيِي الْمَوْتَى وَأُحْيِي الْمَوْتَى بِإِذْنِ اللَّهِ, with the permission of God, not me. This is not me, this is God. يُحْيِي وَيُمِيتُ. God can bestow this power on Jesus. So this is a miracle. We believe in it. It happened. It did happen. It's a miracle. It's against the normal norms of this universe. It's not compatible with physical norms of this universe, but it is compatible with God's power. Because God is omnipresent and omnipotent too. Omnipotent. قادر على كل شيء. قادر على كل شيء. Omnipotent. So you can keep and preserve Imam Al-Mahdi alive. You can keep him alive. Why? Because the universe requires an imam, a leader. You cannot leave a small town without a mayor for a single day. You cannot leave a town without a mayor. You cannot leave a state without a governor. You cannot leave a country without a president. Thus, God would not leave the earth, not just the earth, the entire universe, without a universal imam, ordained and appointed by God. And now if you go to the books of hadith, go to Al-Bukhari, Muslim, At-Tirmidhi, An-Nisa'i, Ibn Majah, and others, and others, and others, you would find they have special chapters in their book designated to speak about Al-Imam Al-Mahdi alayhi salam. And he's the descendant of the Prophet. And he's the descendant of Ali and Fatima. Ali and Fatima specifically. Now, how do we connect with him? Some people think that if I read Dua al-Nudba Friday morning, I can connect to the Imam, or Dua al-Faraj. These du'as are good. These du'as are very good. But these are not enough. Connecting to the Imam requires more than du'as, more than supplications. It requires actions, human actions. We connect with the Imam when we work more, when we give more, when we are more responsible, more committed to our cause. We connect to Imam because Imam is the messenger of what? Not Nabi. When I say messenger, I don't mean Nabi. An envoy of God, of peace and justice, of Islah. He comes to perform the Islah. So if we want to connect to the Imam, we have to be his soldiers and his followers when it comes to Islah, fixation, to fix our society, to fix our families, to fix ourselves. It's not enough for someone to say, I love the Imam, I die for him. But when it comes to his family, the family is corrupt. When it comes to himself, he is corrupt. He cannot connect to the Imam. We cannot connect with Imam Al-Mahdi through words. It has to be spiritual and moral connection. The same way we connect with God. It's not enough for someone to say, I love God. But when it comes to right and wrong, he chooses the wrong. When it comes to justice and injustice, he chooses injustice over justice. He would not be able to connect to God. Same thing with Imam Al-Mahdi alayhi salam. We need to work more. He is the messenger of love and affection. If we replace this love and affection with hate, we would not be able to connect with him. Imam Al-Mahdi does not have a special agents anywhere. And he does not have a franchise. If someone tells you, I have the franchise of Imam Al-Mahdi, he's a liar. He's a liar. You can be his follower. You don't have to be marja' or a scholar or rich or very knowledgeable. You can be as you are today, but with clean heart, with a pure spirit, with a pure niyyah, intention, you can connect with him. You can work for his return. Imam Al-Mahdi needs serious people in our society today, not just to sit and call upon him, oh, Ya Hujjat ibn al-Hasan, please rush to me. This is not enough. I have to show him I am sincere. I am really working for your cause, which is the cause of God, which is the cause of all the Anbiya, the prophets. We have to be the agents of Islah, reforms in our societies, agents of change. إن الله لا يغير ما بقوم حتى يغيروا ما بأنفسهم. God is not going to bring him to us if we are not ready for him. He's not. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، نحمده ونسبحه ونقدسه ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأن سيدنا محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك وترحم على محمد وآل محمد كأفضل ما صليت وسلمت وباركت وترحمت على إبراهيم وآل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. وصل اللهم وسلم على خلفاء نبيك وأوصيائه وأهل بيته وأحبته، علي أمير المؤمنين وقائد الغر المحجلين، وعلى البضعة الطاهرة فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين، وعلى سبطي نبي الرحمة وسيدي شباب أهل الجنة الحسن والحسين عليهما السلام، وعلى علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والخلف الهادي المهدي عجل الله تعالى فرجه وسهل مخرجه. عباد الله، أوصيكم وأوصي نفسي بتقوى الله ولزوم أمره. قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن الكريم في سورة الزخرف: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الأخلاء يومئذ بعضهم لبعض عدو إلا المتقين. صدق الله العلي العظيم. There are three types of friends in this life. See which one you have, which one of them you have, and you must have. One type of friends are only for the affairs of this dunya. You can have fun with them, partying, drinking, going to Vegas with them. Enjoy your life with them. The only benefit they have is for this dunya. They can accompany you everywhere except to the masjid. Masjid is off limit for them. Nightclubs are okay, beaches are okay, Vegas is okay. Wedding parties, especially when we have this, Middle Eastern belly dancing, they are ready to come with you. But if you tell him there is a Fatiha ceremony, there is maw'idah, there is mosque, dua, they are not interested. They are not interested. Those are friends only for the dunya. And those friends, God says about them in the Quran, وَيَوْمَ in Surah Al-Kahf, وَيَوْمَ يَعَضُّ الظَّالِمُ عَلَى يَدَيْهِ. The wrongdoer is going to bite on his hand. يَعَضُّ الظَّالِمُ عَلَى يَدَيْهِ يَقُولُ يَا لَيْتَنِي اتَّخَذْتُ مَعَ الرَّسُولِ سَبِيلًا يَا وَيْلَتَى لَيْتَنِي لَمْ أَتَّخِذْ فُلَانًا خَلِيلًا. I wish I had taken the path of the Prophet. I wish I had not taken such and such. Fulan, fulan in Arabic means so and so. He mentions their names on the Day of Judgment. I wish I had not taken so and so as Khalil, friends. لقد indeed أضلني عن الذكر بعد إذ جاءني وكان الشيطان للإنسان خذولا. This friend that I had, my buddy, for 20, 30, 40 years, we used to have fun together with him. This took me away from the right path. أضلني عن الذكر. I was a good boy. My beginning was good. But because I befriended this type of person, he changed my course. He deviated me. But of course, this regret has no use because it is too late. This is on the Day of Judgment. And usually this type of a friendship that is for the dunya does not last. I guarantee that for you, believe me. They're going to fight. Even after 30 years, they're going to fight. They're going to break out. They're going to turn against each other after 30, 40 years. Because their sadaqah, their friendship is not for God. It's for dunya. And dunya is not stable. Dunya is not stable. So don't waste your time with such type of friends. Friends who want you for the dunya, stay away from them. They are not of any benefit, of any use. They are waste of time. You waste your life with them. And then when you wake up, it is too late. It's too late. The second type of friends, he's only for the akhirah. He doesn't have money to offer you. His mansion is not that big. He does not have fancy cars. He doesn't have jewelry. He does not invite you for lunch or dinner or these things. He doesn't have money to give you. But he has something else better than money. The Prophet says, وَتُذَكِّرُكُمْ بِاللَّهِ رُؤْيَتُهُ. True, he's not rich. His pocket maybe is empty, but his heart is full. His soul is full. He's a source of inspiration for you. وَتُذَكِّرُكُمْ بِاللَّهِ رُؤْيَتُهُ. When Jesus was about to leave his disciples the last night, the following day, he was been taken to God. He informed his disciples, they were 12. He said, this is my last night with you. So they said to him, after you, what do we do? What do we do after you? If you leave us, who's going to be our leader? He says, there is no specific leader. I'm going to give you 3 characters, 3 sifat, 3 attributes. If you find them in someone, follow that person. Jalisu, be with someone. Man yazidukum ilman mantiquhu. He's a person of knowledge. Person of knowledge. This is what we need today. We don't need nonsense today. We need knowledge. We need facts. We need something well-versed, not only in Islam and also in this life. علما منطقه وتذكركم بالله رؤيته. When you look at that face, that person, he reminds you of God. He reminds you of God. The mu'min reminds us of God. His character, the way he walks. وعباد الرحمن الذين يمشون على الأرض هونا وإذا خاطبهم الجاهلون قالوا سلاما. These are the characters. ويزيدكم علما وتذكركم بالله رؤيته. And the third character, ويرغبكم بالآخرة عمله. His conduct, his behavior reminds you and encourages you to work for the akhirah. To work for your akhirah. He wakes you up. He's an alarm for you that wakes you up and tells you, listen, this life is going to expire. Maybe in 5 years from now, maybe in 10 years, we're going to leave. Every single morning and every single evening, I receive the news of people in our community who left us. Every single morning. Every single evening. This is a fact. So he reminds you that there is a day of judgment. He doesn't have money to give you. He doesn't have financial support to provide you with. But he has moral support, spiritual support. So that is friend number 2. Friend number 3, who can be of benefit in this dunya and the akhirah. He is good for the dunya and the akhirah. He is good for the dunya because he's a source of encouragement. When someday you feel you are down, depressed, unhappy, anxious, worried about something, he's there. He will empower you. He will inspire you. He will encourage you. He will tell you like, listen, this life is test. We are going through these tests. Tomorrow is a better day. You have to have hope in God that tomorrow will change. Things will change. So he's a source of guidance. He's a source of advice. When you need an advice, sometimes you don't need money from anyone. You need an advice. He's there to give you the right advice, not the wrong one. He has hikmah. He has wisdom. The right advice for the dunya, for your affairs, for your job, for your family, for your children. And then also, he reminds you of the akhirah. نعم الصديق. Imam Ali alayhi salam says, نعم الصديق المعين على طاعة الله. The best friend is the friend that helps you to obey God, to get closer to God. To get closer to God. Every time you speak to that friend, he gets you closer to God. He reminds you that God does exist. He turns you to God, not turns you away from God. That is the difference. Turns you to God. Try to find those friends. We need those friends. Everyone needs a friend. Everyone, including our greatest prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Jibreel once, when he used to come to the prophet, sometimes the prophet says to him, Ya Jibreel, idhni. He's the greatest man in knowledge. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, no one can beat him in his knowledge and his wisdom and his farsightedness. But he, out of humility, he says, Oh Jibreel, advise me. I need your advice. I need encouragement. I need inspiration. So we need friends in our life. But be careful, my friends. Be careful. Leave the past behind you from now on. If you choose a friend, try to find these qualities. A friend that is useful for the dunya and the akhirah, inshaAllah ta'ala. Next Friday, inshallah, Salatul Jum'ah is noon at 12. In fact, the adhan is 11:35, is going to be 11:35, so we cannot delay the salat more than half an. Salatul Jum'ah should not be delayed more than 30 minutes after the adhan. So inshallah, the salat is going to be at 12. And there is a program to help and reach out to the Afghan refugees. Now there are 55,000 Afghan refugees in 5 American military bases around the nation. 15,000 of them are going to be resettled here in Southern California. Many of them lost their homes, their income, their everything. They've been subjected to acts of terrorism by ISIS and others and Taliban. So please, we have to help those people and reach out to them. This is one of our moral responsibilities, to reach out to those who are in need. And those refugees, they need help, not just financial help, moral help, spiritual help, guidance. They need someone to teach them language. They need someone to, take them to schools, to hospitals, clinics, whatever. So go to ShiaMuslimCouncil.org, ShiaMuslimCouncil.org, and go to click on Afghan resettlement, Afghan refugees resettlement, and see how you can help, inshallah, those people. And definitely you receive the thawab, because those are human beings. Before being Muslims, they are humans. Humans. إِمَّا أَخٌ لَكَ فِي الدِّينِ أَوْ نَظِيرٌ لَكَ فِي الْخَلْقِ. And we must reach out to them because they had enough of injustice and oppression and persecution in their countries. We received the news of the death of an honorable community member, Hajj Ahmed Al-Rubay'i Abu Imad, this morning, and after Salat al-Jum'ah, we're going to bury him in Adelanto, inshallah. And also a prominent Islamic studies and Muslim scholar has died in America, Dr. Mahmoud Mustafa Ayyub. He's a man of knowledge, integrity. He has He has written many books on Islam. He was a university professor in Canada, in America. He's Lebanese American. Also Sheikh Muhammad Ali Al-Musili, a man of honor and dignity. He was the representative of Ayatollah Sistani in Moscow. I met him there. A man who worked for Islam and Ahlul Bayt in that country. Also a pastor, Pastor John Shook, who visited the shrine of Imam Hussein in Karbala. He's from Oregon, Portland, Oregon, who died recently. And at his deathbed, he asked his family members and his friends, he said, I want the Muslims to pray for me because the visit to Karbala and the shrine of Imam Hussein changed my life. This was his last statement. And I hope Allah will embrace him with his mercy, inshallah, and his forgiveness. So, Allahumma aghfir lil mu'minina wal mu'minat wal muslimina wal muslimat al ahya'i minhum wal amwat tabi' Allahumma baynana wa baynahum bil khayrat innaka mujibud da'awat innaka ghafirul khati'at innaka mahis sayyi'at wa ja'iluha hasanat innaka ala kulli shay'in qadir. Please join me in reciting Surat Al-Fatiha for them. Al-Fatiha. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim.